So I kind of throw them in. Like I said, Adam gets caught behind enemy lines, and that happens within the first chapter of the book. Chapter two is just a little bit slower because I introduce more characters in the book. Because there's two other female characters, Emily and Christina, which are the Emperor's daughters. So there's a romantic element between Adam and Connor and Emily and Christina. And so a few more characters are introduced in the second chapter of the book. And then in the third chapter of the book, that's kind of where things take off.
Everybody, welcome back to Living the Next Chapter, the author podcast. You get to meet amazing authors from around the world. If you're seeing video, you're seeing one of my favorite characters behind my guest on the wall. There's my good friend Yoda. I love that. It's good to see Artie here on the show. We'll be talking about his journey as an author. He's even going to talk a little bit about TikTok and promoting your book through social media. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But you're going to meet a great author and a lot of good stuff to talk about. Artie, welcome to the podcast. Glad to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Excellent. Tell everybody, Artie, where are you in this big world of ours?
So I'm actually in North Carolina, Gibsonville, North Carolina. So out in the rural part of North Carolina. It's where we plan to retire. We ended up retiring here, and it's been awesome. I have lots of trees around me. I'm on 2 acres.
Nice.
We have neighbors, but you can't see them from our house, and they can't see us, but we know who they are. They know who we are, and that's all that matters.
Do you have a little writing spot where you are, where you like to go and write?
Yeah, so actually where I'm sitting now is actually my, behind this is my actual workbench. And then what I did is I built a desk off of my workbench, and that's where I'm sitting at right now. Do most of my writing.
Excellent. How long have you been writing, Artie?
So actually I haven't been writing that long. I always wanted to write, was inspired by a lot of stuff, but life just gets in the way. And it wasn't until I actually retired. We remodeled our forever home here. And then it's like, okay, what's next for you? And it's like, okay, maybe it's time to explore the writing journey. So I've been doing it for just a little over 3 years now.
So what created that curiosity to become a writer then?
So when early in high school, probably I think my freshman year, I read the book Dune. I was always big into sci-fi and fantasy. When I first saw Forbidden Planet when I was a young kid, that hooked me on sci-fi. And then Jason and the Argonauts, that took me into the fantasy realm. So I would gobble up anything sci-fi and fantasy. But like I said, when I was a freshman in high school, I read the first book of Dune. And I was completely enthralled with it and knew that I wanted to write something similar to that. But like I said, life gets in the way. You discover cars and girls and then family and work, and it just kind of escalates from there. So that it never presented itself until I retired.
What do you love to watch movie-wise? I can pick up from behind you some clues, but kind of what you go to if you have an evening or an afternoon off and nothing on the agenda, you can just watch any movie. What's the first one you pick?
So it's mostly sci-fi. There is some thriller stuff. I like the Mission Impossible stuff as well. So any of that type of stuff, action adventure. If it's a good one, then I'm on for it.
So that kind of feed into your writing.
It does a little bit. It kind of helps. It helps percolate the imagination a little bit. Helps you build a little things. Okay, so with some of the action adventure stuff that comes into it, because my books are kind of a meld of sci-fi fantasy, but there's an adventure piece to it. So it kind of helps build that for me.
All right, let's talk a little bit. We mentioned at the beginning that social media is one of the things that I know a lot of my authors that come on the show struggle with promoting their books, marketing their books. You're on TikTok as well as other places, but specifically for TikTok, what's been your experience as an author over there?
So I've been on TikTok just a little over a year now, and I was real hesitant about it because you hear all the backlash of all the stuff that's going on with the rest of it, and it's like, I talked to a few other author friends that were jumping into it, and it's like, sure, why not? Let's see where it goes. And there's a smaller community within the larger TikTok, which is Book Talk, that has an amazing support mechanism for indie authors. It's becoming most very dominant within the Book Talk community. I struggled with Facebook when I was doing it. I was doing a lot of promotion and it wasn't really going anywhere. And right now, um, I'm at about 1,200 followers for Facebook, but on TikTok, I'm almost to 4,900 followers in just a little over a year. Yeah, yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
That's good.
It's, and there's a lot of people there that are just readers, and they're hosting a lot of live events and inviting us indie authors to come in, talk about our books, do a little bit of reading about our books, and kind of explaining stuff like kind of what I'm doing here, kind of explaining the journey and how things are going. And they're doing a lot of help to promote us out there.
What kind of posts are working well on TikTok for you when you post on there?
Um, so I'm still a little uncomfortable about being on there and posting myself on there. I'm getting better at it. And that's one of the things that I highlight is the fact is most authors are introverts. They're not extroverts. So, so trying to put yourself out there on these videos and stuff and say, hey, me, it's me, it's me, it's me. Come take a look at me is complete opposite from how writers are. But I have found that if I do more posts with my picture on there, with my face on there, talking to it, that I get a lot more people responding to it than if I just put some type of image out there or video with my book and something like that. So it's kind of an interesting journey, but it's what a few people have explained to me is they want to see the real person. They don't want to see the video. They want to see the person that's behind this and who they are, and then help support them that way. So that's kind of how it's going.
And as an author, you're kind of on your own most of the time to promote your own book, right?
Absolutely, you are. And
Yeah.
that was one of the things that was a big surprise to me because I thought, well, I'm going to write the book, I'm going to put it out there, and then I'll be a happy writer going off to do my thing. And it's like, no, 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 no. If you're not out there promoting your book, pushing your book, nobody's going to be out there helping you do it. If you're not out there, you're on your own, and your book's not going to get any visibility, and that's going to go nowhere. So that's become a big part of becoming an author is now marketing and promoting my book.
All right, let's talk about the book. The kind of the idea, the concept of the book, where this originated. Let's start there.
Okay. Yeah. So like I said, Zeta 5 was actually, well, let me present it this way. So Zeta 5 is, think about it as Dune meets Game of Thrones meets Stargate.
Good.
Like I said, Dune was kind of what inspired me. And after COVID, I was laid off during COVID, and that's what kind of pushed me into retirement. It did me a huge favor by doing that, and tried to call me back sometime later. And it's like, no, I'm retired. I'm happy. Go off and do whatever. I'm staying retired. Um, but so during COVID, they had tried to release Dune, the movie Dune, the new version of it, and it really didn't take off because nobody was going to the movies anymore. And then shortly after I finished remodeling our home, they re-released Dune, and so I watched it a few times, and it's like, okay, stuff is percolating in my head now. I think I'm ready to start writing. And so I came up with a list of characters, kind of who they are, what they do, and tried to follow kind of the Dune theme. And that's how the writing started for me. And the way I present it, and here's a copy
There you go.
of the book
Yeah.
there, is so Zeta 5 is actually a large mining planet. And it's surrounded by asteroids, and there's no clear way into the planet. There are three moons that orbit the planet, and every 3 months, the three moons align and they pull on the asteroid field, creating an opening that you can fly in. So you can fly in, you're there for a day and a half. If you're not out within a day and a half, then you're there for 3 months. So that's kind of the premise of Zeta 5, what it is and how it goes. And with Dune, it's they mine the desert for spice. With Zeta 5, they mine for what I call Zando crystals, which are refined and which used for fuel for interstellar flight. So that's kind of how that works.
I'm
So
always fascinated on how authors come up with names for these things. Like,
yeah,
this is a crystal, and here's the name of the crystal. And here's a language, here's how they say this. And I'm like, where does all this come from? My brain doesn't work like this. I have no idea. I wouldn't be able to name anything. I've named 3 kids.
right.
That's all I've been able to do. But how do you come up with all this language and terminology from, where's it come from?
Well, so for me, it's like okay, and when I was kind of naming the planets within the book, it's like okay, I want to do something. I want to do names that aren't familiar to people that that are still something you could pronounce because a lot of the fantasy stuff when you read it, it's like how the hell did I pronounce that name? It's like
Yeah.
it goes. So I tried not to be that way. I tried to use kind of names that could be pronounced a little easier, a little common with the naming things. I don't use a special language or anything like that. And the same thing with timing and the rest of it. I use months and years and stuff like that as well to try to do it. But but I wanted so like I said, I mean, I was homage to Dune, so I wanted a short name. So it's like, okay, what can be short in there? And so I was kind of poking around, and it's like, okay, Zeta is not really something that's common out there. So it's like, okay, so we're gonna have a planet. So it's gonna be Zeta 5 as a planet. So they're mining crystals on Zeta 5. So what are we gonna call the crystals? Well, it's Zeta 5, so you're gonna name it something similar to Zeta 5. So that's where I said, okay, let's do Zando. So we'll call them Zando crystals. So that's how I came up
Okay.
with the name for the crystals. So that's kind of how I developed it.
Am I under the assumption there's 4 other Zetas? If this is Zeta 5, is that kind of the rationale there or no?
No, no, because
Okay.
Zeta
All right.
5 is the mining planet.
Okay.
I have written 3 other books as part of the series, and so that was something else. When I started writing, my thought was I could write, I can get the book out, and then I'm done. But like about 3 months after I had finished writing the book, and I'm trying to get it out there and trying to find a publisher and the rest of it, which didn't really go. It's no, I have more ideas here, so I
Mm,
just kept writing. So I'm
okay.
actually probably a quarter of the way into book 5 now.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if there was the significance of the 5 in Zeta 5, if that had a
Yeah,
meaning
so Zeta
behind it.
5, yeah, so it's like the fifth planet in that
Okay.
universe.
There you
Exactly.
go. There you
Yeah.
go. All right. Tell me about your main characters. Who are we going to meet first, and what
Okay.
do we need to know about these people?
Yeah, so 2 of the main characters are Connor Balcazar and his older brother Adam. And Connor is a young warrior. He hasn't really done anything yet, and that's how it's presented in the first chapter of the book. His older brother Adam has been out there for a while, and in this universe, um, the Empire is out there. They're accumulating planets. They're bringing them on when they're mature enough, and they feel that they're mature enough, and trying to bring new minerals and that into the Empire. And the first chapter of the book is they've approached this new planet trying to bring it on, but it's in the middle of a war, so they're trying to solve the war and bring the planet on. And Connor's older brother Adam gets caught behind enemy lines, and so Connor has to go try and free his brother. So that's how the first chapter of the book goes. So this is how Connor gets his feet wet. This is his first chance to start proving himself, and so that's how I present those 2 characters in there. There's another character, Eric, that's kind of the mentor to both of them to help train them from the time they were kids, and is working at the general in the first chapter. And those are the first 3 main characters that you meet in the first
Okay.
chapter of the book.
How prominent
Um,
is this limited window of travel to the story? Is it something that we're going to see multiple times through the story, or is it kind of a
Yes,
okay?
you're gonna see it multiple times within the story, and there's glitches to things that are happening that cause part of the adventure that's going on within when they're on that planet.
Interesting.
So yeah, it is key to that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of like a little wrench in the whole system, right? To
yeah,
have to work around
right.
that.
Yeah, exactly. So
So there's a lot of your characters responding to the lack of availability to leave or come, and that's
yeah,
going to play into the story.
yeah, there's also one more snag in it. There's actually no communication in and out of the planet. If you're
Oh,
going to get any, yeah, no, they can't communicate outside the asteroids, prevent that from happening. There's limited communication within the planet as well. So if you're going to get any information, it has to be when they go in and they come back out. If you don't go in and come back out, then whatever happens on the planet stays on the planet, kind of like Vegas. Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
she's like somebody stranded on an island. You can't communicate with anyone. You're stuck
Right.
there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So if something is seriously happening on the planet and they can't get word out, then they're
Yeah.
gonna have to deal with it on their own. There's no help for them.
How fast paced is the story? Like, does it take a
The
little
story
slow
is
burn to
pretty.
start, or
So I kind of throw them in. Like I said, Adam gets caught behind enemy lines, and that happens within the first chapter of the book. Chapter two is just a little bit slower because I introduce more characters in the book. Because there's two other female characters, Emily and Christina, which are the Emperor's daughters. So there's a romantic element between Adam and Connor and Emily and Christina. And so a few more characters are introduced in the second chapter of the book. And then in the third chapter of the book, that's kind of where things take off. So there's
okay,
actually, in the beginning of the third chapter, there's an explosion at one of the labs. And the Emperor Esteban has a younger brother, Lorenzo, who is plotting against him. And this explosion exposes what Lorenzo is up to. So then at that point, Esteban uses Connor and Adam to help him try and figure out what Lorenzo is up to before it's too late. So the two of them
okay,
go off into different directions trying to help the Emperor trying to figure out what Lorenzo is up to. Because Lorenzo is responsible for all of the labs. He has full control of that and then releases information as he sees fit, not whatever the Emperor wants. And that's kind of they get into an altercation over this in the beginning of chapter three.
yeah. You mentioned some other books and movies that kind of tie into the way that you're writing and
Yeah.
how you did Zeta
Yeah.
5. You talked about Game of Thrones. For anybody who's a Game of Thrones enthusiast, what kind of elements, without sharing too much of the story, what kind of elements
Yeah.
from that would they
So
appreciate from Zeta 5?
yeah, so there's the family piece of it, the
Okay.
two trying to overthrow the empire. But a little bit of a spoiler, there is a dragon involved. So
Gotta have
that
a
brings the
dragon.
fantasy. Yeah, you gotta have a dragon. And like I said, being a big Dune enthusiast, I couldn't use sandworms. I couldn't do any of that. So it's like, okay, what can I do? And I love dragons. Who doesn't love dragons? And it's like, okay, I can write a dragon into this, and I think it'll work well within the story. So that's a piece of it as well. And and the other thing that so Connor has the ability to see the future, but since he's still young, trying to figure things out, there's a lot of stuff that's happening that he's seeing that he's trying to figure out what the relationship is within all of this. So he's putting pieces together, still trying to figure out what these images mean to him.
I've noticed too, you've won like an award for this. Like that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like several. Like what's going on there? Like, 'cause I know that's another form of recognition, but tell me more about
Yes.
this.
Yes. Well, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, so actually, I applied for several awards, and during the Christmas holiday, I got two emails within a week of each other. One for the International Impact Book Awards, and I got a gold medal for that one for science fiction fantasy space adventure.
Wow.
And then a week later, I got one for Global Book Awards silver medal for action adventure fantasy. So I have a gold and a silver medal for this book. And the book's only been out a little over a year.
How does that feel as an author to have
Oh,
somebody
oh,
recognize your book like that? Come on.
I was completely elated when I got, for one, when I first read it. It's like, this is another one of these marketing people just
Scam.
fishing, and it's a scam. And it's like, so I read it like three times before it finally sunk into the fact that it's an
It's
actual
legit.
real award. And,
Well,
and that was one of the things when I was writing. It's like, how great would it be to become an award-winning author? And I was completely elated. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it, and it's still sometimes I have to pinch myself.
so you're on the right path. That's good.
Yeah, it looks like it. It feels
There you
like
go.
it. So I'm a happy camper.
That's encouraging, right? To hear that kind of
Yeah, it is.
feedback and to get that approval.
It
That's good.
it is. It's very encouraging. It means that there are other people out there that like your book and are receiving it well. And I have received some amazing reviews for it. Not all of them are on Amazon or Goodreads, but if you look at the web, you can find a lot of amazing reviews out there that aren't really posted anywhere but the web.
What do reviews mean for you as an author when somebody leaves a review? I always promote that here on the show for our readers to leave reviews for you and other
Yeah,
authors.
yeah.
But what do
Well,
you do with that? What do you do that?
so for me, it's another way to help promote and market my book, because it says that it's not just me saying that I have something great to read. There's other people out there that feel the same way and are saying now. And each review that I get, 4 or 5 star review that I get, even 3 star reviews they've written some amazing stuff. They haven't given the stars, but it's still they write some amazing stuff for it. So that's perfectly fine to me. But a review for an author is the ultimate. So anybody out there that reads books, you definitely need to be leaving reviews for, if you enjoy these books, for these authors, because they pour their souls into this. And anytime you leave a review, they're elated by it.
Yeah, I'm just scanning through your reviews on Amazon. I have your page up while we're chatting, and I'm
Oh,
seeing a lot of amazing comments from people,
yeah,
and a lot of people also then liking those comments and saying those are helpful for them. I think that reviews really help other people to decide if this is the right book for them or if someone they know based on the feedback, right? If I go to a restaurant, I want to know the
yeah,
food's good, right?
yeah. So I did a book fair a few weeks ago in Raleigh, and I had two people come up to me and tell me that they wanted to buy my book. They were there at the book fair. They saw my. So if you look behind me, I've got a poster here, and I have a similar
Yeah.
one that I use for the book fair. And so they went up on Goodreads to read the reviews, and they came to me and told me afterwards, based on the review, that they wanted to buy my book. So you're absolutely right. Those
Yeah.
reviews help sale. Yeah.
Right. So I think that's our responsibility as readers, talking to the readers listening to us right now. It's our responsibility. You wrote the words that we're reading as the author. We owe you our words in response on what we connected with and how we enjoyed the book as well.
Right. And that also helps us be able to keep writing and producing more books by feedback from the readers.
What about reviews that aren't like super glowing 5 star? You said a 3 star. You're like, but they say something about the book that maybe they didn't connect with. Could be them, not the book.
Right.
But how
Right.
do you respond to those kind of reviews as well?
Well, for me, it's like not everybody is going to like what you write,
Right.
and I accept that. I actually have a 1 star review, and the person claimed that they didn't even finish reading the first chapter, and it's like, oh, okay. I did look them up and kind of look, but they were just a complete hater. Everything that they reviewed was either 1 or 2 stars. So it's like, but for me, it's kind of vindication that they validated that I'm a real author, because I do have a 1 star review. I'm
Yeah.
not I don't have a bunch of 4 star and 5 stars, so I'm not some what is it, it's shot in the dark, whatever, being
Yeah.
publicized by a big book conglomerate out there.
Yeah. Or you didn't pay for the reviews. Yeah. It's
Exactly.
nice when it's actual real people. I think that
Yes.
I actually think it's not happy. It doesn't make me happy to see a review like that, but it does balance it out. I think for the person who comes and goes, if everybody loves this, is it real? Like, does
Yep.
everybody think this is the best book?
Right.
You
Right.
know, right? So
No, there was a hater out there.
yeah, they show up. Yeah, you're right. It is a good validation. I I would have that review put up on my shirt and wear it to my own book signings. Look, one person doesn't like this book, and just have it on my shirt. Yeah, it's like I'm a
Right.
real person. Yeah, I like that. Excellent. Don't
Absolutely.
do it that often though. As you listen to us, don't go and just leave negative reviews. We want to hear
Right.
the positive stuff. We want to hear what you loved about it. But I
Yeah,
found
we should
authors
write
that
the
have
book.
come on the show and they've said that some of the reviews have helped them to be a better author on their next work,
Yep.
their next
Yep.
project. They're like,
Yep.
you know what? That's good feedback. I'm going to really bring that into
Yep.
my thoughts and plans for what I'm working
It
on
does.
next.
It
Right?
does. Yep. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I ask for feedback all the time. What did you like? What didn't you like about the book? What changes maybe you would want to see and yeah, I do that all the time.
How important is it for you to meet people in person and talk about your book and meet your readers one on one?
I don't get a chance to meet them that often. Like I said, I've been
Yeah.
at book fairs, but all the book fairs have been me promoting the book and selling the book. It hasn't really been me meeting. So I haven't met too many people. I have had two people come to me. There's some stuff that goes on in the middle of the book that they're really surprised to read. And it's like, oh, I wasn't expecting this. And it's like, oh,
Mm.
okay, good. You answered my question.
There you go. That's actually a good little hook you just threw in there for us, RD. I like that. Now everybody's like the middle of the book, the middle of the book. You're gonna like try to find it. No, it's good. It's good. When you find that, leave a review. Tell people hey, I found the middle of the book. Yeah, make sure people know. I had one author on recently, RD, and they write in a similar area that you do. And what they've been
Okay.
doing lately is they go to Comic-Con and those kind of events. They have a table for their book, but they've also created like characters in that from the book who are there as live people
Oh,
cosplaying
wow.
as
Right.
the actors from and as the characters from the book. So they're there for the signing, kids get their pictures with
Right.
them and all that. I'm like, what a
Right.
great idea, right?
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah. So that's the next thing on my list is to try and attend some of the cons,
Yeah.
to try and help promote a little more and just get more feedback.
Like talk about a place full of people who love what you do, right?
Yeah.
To get in front of
Exactly.
them,
Yep.
that's just like fishing in a barrel, right? They're all there. That's
Yeah, it
great.
totally is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you talk about continuing to write.
Yes.
Kind of how far away is maybe a new project for people listening, and they're like, "I love what you do, RD. I can't wait for the next thing." Do you have any kind of
Yeah.
timeline we can share?
So the next book, I'm actually looking to publish the next book the beginning of next year.
Okay.
If you look at some of my views, a lot of them are saying that they can't wait to read the next book. So I'm starting to get prepared to try and publish that next book. And
Okay.
the problem is, I mean, for independent authors, it's not a cheap endeavor to go through
No.
all the editing process, a book cover, getting it formatted, and all of that. I do have an awesome group called Paper Raven Books that I don't think if I had found them, I actually would have been able to publish this book.
Really?
They were amazing. They helped me go through 3 rounds of editing. They helped me with the book cover. They helped me with all the formatting to get it on Amazon, and they still stand behind me. I mean, they didn't just collect my money, push me out the door, and say thanks, see you next time. They're still there. They have regular calls, and they help support us, and it's been an amazing group to work with.
How did you find them?
That's an interesting question. I was fishing around looking for editors, trying to understand what that was going to cost and how that was going to go. And I actually had a couple of different companies come to me and they were going to publish my book. But maybe this is the other thing is I was never great with the vocabulary. Vocabulary was I like to write, but and I knew that my book was going to need a lot of help.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of different companies that say, okay, yeah, we'd love to publish your book. We'll clean it up a little bit and then we'll just push it out there. And it's like, no. I'm smarter than that. I know I'm going to need help trying to get this out there. And
Hmm.
I think something came up, and one of them reached out to me and said, let's talk. And so they said, send us a copy of your book. We'd like to read it, and we'll give you our feedback. So they did, and they said, yeah, we think we can help you here. You're going to need some work, but here's our pricing structure for that to do all of this and help you get through there. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I think that'll work for me. And they came up with the budget to help me so that I didn't have to eat that all in one bite. And
Yeah.
they've been amazing. Their editors were amazing. But the other thing too is going through that entire process. My next three books are nowhere near what my first book is. I learned a ton from them,
Good.
and so they're not going to need anywhere near the cleanup work that the first one did.
That's interesting. See, like I always kind of equate your first novel as to in comparison to a band who writes their
Yep.
first song or their first album. That took a whole lifetime to get into the studio to write that album. Took a whole
Right.
lifetime to write that
Right.
first book. And then every book and every song from that point on is built on the foundation of that first book. You're going to learn, you're going to grow, but that first
Yes.
book is still special. Even though
It
it's
is.
hard,
Absolutely.
it's
Yep.
still
Yep.
very special, right?
It is. It is. I mean, it's what allowed me to get to this point, and I love it. Yeah,
Yeah, and book two will never come if you don't write book one. It's
that's
just
right.
numerically, it's kind of how it happens, right? You have to do it in order. Are you
Yep.
writing your books to be standalone books, or are we reading them in series? What are we doing here?
So yeah, so like I said, when I wrote the first book, it was like one and done. So the end of the book hints that there could be more, but it is
Okay,
a standalone book.
okay,
But books two, three, and four, you have to read book one to understand two, three, and four, and you have to understand. You have to read two to understand three,
okay.
and so on. And
All right.
book three and book two doesn't end on a major cliffhanger, but book three actually ends on a major cliffhanger. And so you're going to want to jump into book four to find out what happens.
So if you're listening to this 2 or 3 years from now, and you go to RD's website and you connect with RD, make sure you go back to book one. I know it's back at the beginning, but go back to book one and get that first, and then
Yep.
you can proceed from there. All right. So yeah,
Right. Right.
it's good.
And
RD, yeah,
book five is that I'm still in the process of writing.
yeah,
Actually starts off with characters from book four. So it's book four is not a major cliffhanger. It goes on with other characters, and then the original characters come back in about the
yeah.
middle of book five. Yeah.
Are you a visual writer? Like, are you picturing this world and you can see your characters as you write? Is that kind of how you approach this?
It's a little bit of that, but I'm kind of a plotter. So I'll sit down and kind of plot out how I want things to go.
Yeah,
And this is something that readers may not understand, writers will. But when you start writing, your characters kind of have a mind of their own. And when you get into it, the characters are
yeah,
going to go off and they're going to kind of do their own thing. And it's like, yeah, I never really thought about it that way. And so you just start following them along. And it's like,
yeah,
okay, I need you to come back a little bit with me this way because we need to shift a little bit here. But in the writing journey, that's kind of how it goes.
yeah. A little
So,
bit of
but
herding cats there, a little bit,
right,
right?
right,
Yeah.
right, exactly.
I do like when your characters start to lead you as an author, though, and
Right.
and the character develops in front of you. You're like, oh, we're going this way now. I like this,
Yep.
right? That's kind of
Yep.
interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and
Yeah,
the other part too is when you kill off some of the characters that you're invested in. It's kind of
mm.
I actually it won't really be a spoiler, I don't think, but there's one character that I killed off that I actually had to take a day, and I knew it was happening. I knew it was going to happen,
Oh,
but I actually had to take a day and walk away and just say, it's almost like killing one of my kids.
oh, come on, that's not good, right? No, it's your
Yeah.
family. These are your characters are
Right.
your family, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there, but that's something else to look forward to, everyone, as well. When you find that part in the story, leave a review as well. Let people know that you found that. There's a lot of little Easter eggs I'm finding throughout this book. It's great.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. RD, where do we go then to stay in touch with you long term? where your home is. We talked about TikTok. We'll have a link for that.
Yep.
But where do people follow your journey as an author?
So they can follow me on TikTok. I do have a website. It's rdmorenoauthor.com. I'm also on Instagram, and that's also rdmorenoauthor. Or
Instagram.
yeah, just author.
Your
Yeah,
handle. Yeah, okay.
and think which one I'm talking about. But those are some of the places. And if you follow me on TikTok, I have a link tree that has all those other links involved in it. And it also has the Amazon link for my book as well. And it's also I just recently put it on Ingram Spark, so it's available on Barnes and Noble and Walmart, Target, and all of them.
Wow, excellent.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Look at you, big time author guy here. This is great. I think it's awesome. I think it's great.
Like I said, I've learned a lot in a short time.
There you go. You're using your retirement days up really well. And I think that's great. When you find that you're new, it's the name of my show, right? You're living your next chapter. Retirement.
Exactly.
I'm an author.
Yeah.
I'm going to write and enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
I love
And
it.
maybe one more thing that I'll highlight
Yeah.
for the book is there is a prophecy within this book.
Oh.
So yeah, that Connor uncovers is on his adventure. So that's something else that you'll and it's uncovered in the book fairly early. So you'll have to find where that goes.
And we're going to see that kind of play out as you continue
Yes.
to write that prophecy. Okay.
Yes.
There you go. Another little hook, everybody. Come on. Man, there's more hooks here than a fight, right? A boxing match is like hook, hook, hook. I like this.
Right.
This gets
That's it. Yep. Absolutely.
There you
go. Yep.
RD, thank you so much for being on the show. You got to come back, okay, as you continue to
Absolutely.
write.
I would love to. Yeah. I would love that very much. I've enjoyed this and happy to come back anytime.
Excellent. Excellent. All the information, everybody, as always, in the show notes for RD. Not if, but when you buy RD's books, please leave a great review.
Yes.
As these new books come out in the future, keep leaving those reviews. I know RD would love to hear that from you. If you have the opportunity to see RD live in person, make sure you go up, shake his hand. I know he'd love to hear from you and connect with you as a reader. Right?
I would, very much so.
Yeah. Excellent. RD, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much again for pressing play. As you've heard, great guests on the show. And one thing you didn't hear in this conversation is what? What did you not hear? Think about it for a second. That's right. Not a single solitary commercial for a mattress or a supplement or a whatever you call it. No. Why? Because we don't want to break up the conversation with commercials. So the fact that you're still here means that you are a fan of the show, I'm assuming. So if you want to help to keep the podcast going and to make me feel really happy, all I really care about is coffee, okay? I just got to be honest. I love coffee. I'm drinking one right now. It's starting to get cold. I need to warm it up. Helping us with our Buy Me a Coffee link over at livingthenextchapter.com and also in the show notes helps kind of keep the lights on around here. Remember, I'm doing this for free. I'm paying for everything. So I would love to have a little coffee donation, even $5 kind of fills up my cup. And I would love to enjoy a coffee from you. So if you're interested, again, thank you for listening. But you can use our Buy Me a Coffee link and fill up the cup. Thanks for being here.